Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Daily Bible Reading. Today we're going to start reading through Exodus with Exodus chapter 1. But first I'm going to try to set the scene for us. So, at this time, you just remember Joseph has died. And there's a lot of Israelites in Egypt. And we're going to see a lot of the Israelites in this book. And we're going to see multiple leaders. One prominent Bible figure that you may know coming up soon in the next couple of chapters. But we're going to see the Israelites and their leaders a lot in this book of Exodus. So, at this time, the Israelites are in captivity in Egypt, and the reason that is because there's so many of them there that the Egyptians are afraid that they're gonna take them over, so they take them into captivity. So we can go ahead and start reading, and it says, "Now these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. Each man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. All those who were descendants of Jacob were 70 persons, for Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, all his brothers, and all that generation. But the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them." So at the beginning there, all those names, you may remember them from Genesis. They all came to live in Egypt, but they all died. That whole generation had died off at this point. But this is all their descendants and all their kids. And like I said earlier, it says, "And the land was filled with them." So there are a lot of Israelites in Egypt at this point. "Now there arose a new king over Egypt, who did not know Joseph. And he said to his people, 'Look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal shrewdly with them, lest they multiply.' And it happened, in the event of war, that they also join our enemies and fight against us, and so go up out of the land. Therefore they set taskmasters over them, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh supply cities, Pithom, and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were in dread of the children of Israel. So the Egyptians made the children of Israel serve with rigor. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage, in mortar, in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service in which they made them serve was with rigor. Then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, of whom the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah, and said, 'When you do the duties of a midwife for the Hebrew women, see them on their birth stools. If it is a son, then you shall kill him. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live.' But the midwives feared God, and did not do as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the male children alive. So the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said to them, 'Why have you done this thing, and why save the male children alive?' And the midwives said to Pharaoh, 'Because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are lively and give birth before the midwives come to them.' Therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and grew very mighty. And so it was, because the midwives feared God, that he provided households for them. So Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, 'Every son who is born you shall cast into the river, and every daughter you shall save alive.'" So that's the end of the chapter, but I'll go back over it. You can see while I was reading how the Pharaoh and the people of Egypt are scared of how many Israelites are living in Egypt. They make them work harder and serve harder. But the more they made them work, the more children were born. And so it gets to the point where Pharaoh wants all the male children killed and the girls kept alive, but the midwives do not kill the male children because they feared God. So then Pharaoh just says to just throw them in the river and keep the daughters alive. So we're going to see more of this the baby thing coming up in the next chapter, Exodus chapter 2, where a significant figure in Exodus is born. So if you want to see that video, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a single reading of the book of Exodus. I hope y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and I will see y'all in the next video.